Thank you for being here. I'm JoJo Platt. I'm one of the co-organizers, co-chairs of the Cleveland NeuroDesign Entrepreneurs Workshop. John Sakai, one of our other veterans and co-chairs, both of the workshop and the fellowship, is online with us, and I'll let him say hello.
Hi there, I'm John. Excited to speak and present to you. I'm the director of commercialization for Psionic, and we're a startup, a stimulation-based mobility company, and I've been involved in this area and entrepreneurship training for a long time. So you're in great hands with our team.
Just so we're all clear, this is being recorded so that people who had conflicts at this time still get the same information and benefits in terms of their applications. Applications are closing on March 31st, so coming up now. We will not be having an extension to the application process. Just to be clear, we have done that in the past, but because we have a very tight turnaround this year, no extensions will be granted. But I will emphasize that we do have a second program, our flagship program, the Cleveland NeuroDesign Entrepreneurs Workshop, being hosted at Case Western Reserve University. Those applications will open shortly after the process for Europe. So Cleveland NeuroDesign has been in operations we've run 5 cohorts, took a year off for COVID, so it's technically been 6 years. We've put through 32 students from around the world in each of our programs. Those students have been selected on the application, much like you are about to go through. This is our first foray into Europe, and we have BlackRock Neurotech to thank for that. They have been very generous in their support of making sure that this program not only succeeds domestically over the past 5 years as sponsors, but now expanding that program to include more European participation. And I think with that, we'll just get rolling. The NeuroDesign Entrepreneurs Workshop is based on the Stanford Biodesign program, and that is a program that's been around for many, many years and is responsible for a tremendous number of very successful startups in the med tech space. The philosophy is that innovation and entrepreneurship can be taught and subsequently learned. You'll see up at the top sort of the steps of the biodesign process. And what makes us a little bit different from biodesign is that we've worked with the program and established a similar program, but specifically focused on neurotechnology development. So we have some nuances that are a little bit different from medtech, and we felt like it was a good opportunity to adapt and apply it to neurotechnology. The workshop itself is, Andy has here 3 days. It's really 3.5 or across 4 days. We start on Thursday afternoon and then you leave on Sunday. Successful applicants will be placed into teams of 4. We found that to be a very magical number, both in terms of productivity and team management, team dynamics. Over the course of the long weekend, you'll get lectures, didactic lectures. Each team is assigned an advisor, and then there's also some group mentoring that takes place. We'll get into some of the specifics of that in just a minute. And we are keenly aware of the catch-22 that is where a lot of people, I think, have questions is, how do I get experience if I don't have experience? And I want to assure you all from the very beginning that you are not required to have any entrepreneurial experience from the beginning. That's what you're here to get. But we do ask a lot of entrepreneurship questions in the application. Please rest assured that we're looking for a mindset of entrepreneurship if you don't actually have entrepreneurial experience. So please allay those fears and put yourself out there, because this is a fantastic chance for you to get started on your entrepreneurship journey. So what exactly is going to happen at the workshop? As I mentioned, there are the didactic sessions, the mentored sessions or with your team mentor, and then group working sessions. And through all of those vehicles, you'll go through the main stages of biodesign. This is very different approach to problems and solutions in that it's not uncommon to experience, especially in engineering, a tool that's developed that goes out and looks for a nail, a hammer that looks for a nail. This is the exact opposite, where we spend quite a bit of time finding a problem before even conceptualizing a solution. So the first two stages and some of the work is done prior to the launch of the workshop. And the workflow kind of goes, you're accepted into the program, you confirm your acceptance. It's very soon thereafter, you're placed into your teams. And between the teaming assignments and the workshop, you'll meet together online to start some of the pre-work, which starts with its own webinar and lecture. You'll start to apply the needs finding exercises, and you'll come to the workshop with some of those early needs statements already drafted. And then that will take us into needs screening, where you examine through a series of different optics what constitutes a good need, and is it a balanced or attainable need? Is it a need that services enough of a population to make a business case for it? It's not until you've pressure tested that needs statement that you go into concept generation. So here, obviously, we're focused on a neurotechnology solution, and that's where your concept will be. That's sort of your foundation of your concept, and you will be building up a great number of possible solutions, and then whittling that back down to a single concept that you'll develop and apply the strategy from there. The strategy and business planning sections are really the last part. So you've developed a strong need, you've developed a solution that fits not only the need statement, but then also business criteria. And then the final steps are your business strategy and development. So that's where we'll get into things like regulatory, reimbursement, privacy, security, ethics, market analysis, go-to-market strategy. How do you understand how to reach your patient population as well as your clinical population? Because those are very different populations that will need specific addressing. I'm going to pause here for just a second, check in with John, make sure there's anything that I'm missing or failed to cover yet.
No, you certainly have it covered, I think, and we'll review this at the end, but it's also um, bears enforcing that, this is a project-based learning experience, and it does end in a kind of pitch competition of the entrepreneurial world. However, what we really focus on in helping you and then assessing at the end is like understanding and execution on each of the phases as they're, conceptually. So we're all engineers and innovators and super excited about coming up with the best solutions. But again, this is about process, and we really want you to dedicate as, equally your time and energy towards learning and executing on each of the steps, because this is what we hope you come away with is a broad appreciation for the importance of each step.
That's a great point. Thanks, John. I think this is a good time to note that the concepts and the skills that you'll be learning in the workshop are designed to be portable. For instance, we've had 2 students that have come through the NeuroDesign program and have successfully launched a new company entirely outside of neurotechnology, but they've been able to successfully apply the concepts that they learned here and the practices that they've learned here to an entirely different area. They're doing sustainable kelp farming, which is very exciting to see. Our reach goes beyond just neurotechnology. This is a question that we get a lot. Who should attend the workshop? I will say there's nobody that shouldn't attend, but from there I will also kind of carve out where people tend to be in their career or education. For the most part, our students are somewhere in their advanced degree program, a master's, PhD, postdoc, even, shortly out of their advanced degree program, usually within engineering or neuroscience, or something very closely adjacent. That's not to say that we won't entertain other people with other within other disciplines, and it's also not to say that that's the full band of our applications. We have had a handful of undergrads who have successfully gone through the program, and they continue to do well in their education and careers. Similarly, we've had people who have established their clinical career, neurosurgeons who have built their practice, and over the course of their practice have felt a yearning for entrepreneurship, and especially through their experience have observed something in their life that said, I really want to make X solution work as a company. So the full spectrum, all are welcome. Each application is reviewed individually and without context for age or actual experience in entrepreneurship. We believe, all of us that work on this program, believe that neurotechnology offers a really great opportunity to deliver care in novel and new ways, whether it's in an area where the current standard of care is insufficient, or in some cases where no standard of care even exists. We have had, I've seen in my career in neurotechnology a big shift from sort of the only path out of your program being either, Medtronic, Boston, Abbott, or academia. I'm really excited to see that over the last 10 to 12 years, especially, that started to shift and include a lot more opportunities in entrepreneurship, and not just as scientists or engineers. There are a range of positions, whether it's founder, co-founder, supporting player, working in regulatory reimbursement, intellectual property, privacy, security, and then a number of jobs that don't even exist today will shortly exist, I promise. Like I mentioned early on, we have an international partnership now with BlackRock Neurotech, bringing this program to Lugano, Switzerland, and we hope that you'll be a part of it. And we all on the faculty, both the core faculty and our expanded faculty, firmly believe that this is a growing field and an important one, and we want to do our best to bring others along the journey with us. Okay, what does this weekend actually look like? I'll use weekend loosely because nobody ever gave me Thursday as a weekend, but the weekend kind of goes like this. We start at 4 p.m. local time in Lugano on Thursday afternoon. This will be the first time that you meet your team in person. So there's a little bit of apprehension. Some people across the cohort might know each other. This is a small community. It's typical for people to know one or two others or even more. So we'll make Thursday a lot of fun. We have some didactic lectures, we have some team building exercises, and icebreakers, which are really, really fun. I'm usually of the opinion that they can get pretty cheesy, but these in particular are quality, and I always appreciate them. We'll have some really impactful speakers for you, people with lived experience that you'll get to interact with in depth over the course of the weekend. And of course, we feed you dinner. And then sort of we set expectations for the remainder of the program. Thursday night's the easy night. This is not going to be one of your long nights, so I encourage people to spend some time, get to know each other, and then um, get some rest on Thursday evening when you can. Friday, you will have met with your team advisor or mentor on Thursday for the first time. You'll get to know who that person is. And you as a team will set up working expectations, but each of the 3 mornings generally start with a meeting with your team advisor and your team. The rest of the day is spent in, we have some didactic lectures, we have some working time for the teams, we have office hours, and John is instrumental, especially in our clinical office hours. We do work really hard to put together a clinical team that can help you understand the challenges and opportunities that your need statement and eventual solution might provide to this clinical population, and then for those clinicians to give you feedback on what direction you're looking at taking. So this first day gets really uncomfortable because we don't yet let you start thinking about a solution. We're really focused on the need statement on Friday. Because if you don't have a strong need statement, everything that you build on top of that foundation is at risk of collapsing. Networking is a big part of this program. Over half of our cohorts over the first 5 years of the program have gotten their first jobs in industry as a direct result of this program. So we make sure that you have time to network not only with each other, but with the faculty that we bring in. And our faculty is pretty stellar, and it's one-on-one time or team on one time with folks that are here out of the goodness of their hearts and because they believe that this group is going to do great and amazing things. So networking continues to be a focus. Friday night, we'll feed you dinner. We'll make sure and have a good time. Give everybody a break to decompress. As a team, you will likely have some work to do together after we disband on Friday evening. It's not uncommon. We provide working space at the hotel where you can work after hours, you can get comfortable, you can, blow off some steam and then all come back together. Whatever your team dynamics that you established from the beginning, and how you decide to work, that starts again on Friday night in independent working sessions. Saturday morning, again, you'll meet with your advisor to start the day, and more lectures, more workshop time, more office hours with specialists, clinical and business, more networking. Saturday night gets a little bit different. We want you guys to network specifically with each other as well, because this team, you're going to recognize these people growing with you throughout your careers. And having those connections is very valuable. So we make sure we have our faculty and cohort happy hour, and then you guys get to go and have a fun, casual dinner. Leave the old fogies behind. We'll go do our own thing. You won't have your parents looking over your shoulder on Saturday evening. That said, this is also the big push, because on Sunday, you will take what you've been developing all through the course of the workshop, your needs statement, to your final needs statement, your solution, and then building out your business plan. Because on Sunday, whether you believe it now or not, you as a team will be presenting a fully fledged company. And I put that in quotes. I'll come back to that in just a minute. You'll have some time to practice in the morning, refine your pitch deck based on everything you've learned up until that point. Take turns, working through how your presentation goes. Everyone on the team is expected to participate in the presentation. Everybody should be aware that even if you're not a public speaker, you will have some element of speaking during the presentation. We do bring in remote experts in this area. So the pitch judging will not only be by the faculty on site, but we bring in venture capitalists, investors. It'll be a little interesting for any sort of US government participants to participate this year, I think just because of communication issues, but we'll do our best to get some of our European counterparts available so that at the end of your presentation, they'll be providing feedback to your advisors on each team's presentation. So you get real world actionable feedback on what you've presented. Just stepping back one time for the air quotes around your fully fledged company. You will not be working on anything that is intended for real world development. We ask the reason for this is because your team members, your other 3 team members come from 3 different home institutions. And that means 4 total different IP sharing and IP regulation perspectives. So we ask that you design a concept that is feasible, but not intended to become a real business. If you have an idea already in mind of something that you want to develop as your own startup, we encourage you to keep that concept in mind throughout this process so that you can take all of the steps and all of the things that you've learned throughout the weekend and apply them then afterwards so that we're not creating any sort of IP protest issues. On Sunday, after the final presentations, we expect most people will be flying in and out of Milan is our expectation. We have transportation back to Malpensa. And based on previous years in Cleveland, I can tell you that I usually arrive at the airport, and as flights are coming and going and everybody has a different departure time, there are invariably a group of students all gathered at the pub at the airport, blowing off steam and celebrating the fact that the workshop is finally over and celebrating how much they've learned and how many people they've made new connections and friendships with. So it's a big release valve. It's a lot of fun. If you're taking the train, which I know is going to be a likely avenue for several people, I'm estimating that the experience will be similar at train stations. And with that, I'm going to pause again and let John help me out if there's anything I'm missing here.
No, I don't think so. I think I think the program is meant to be very interactive and active. So the didactic sessions, the presentations are pretty intense in terms of time, and we really want you to work through your working sessions, and also that's why every team will have access to a mentor who is an expert in this process, so you can kind of absorb the general gestalt of the phase and then really focus on application to the project that you're working on. And so it really is intended to be interactive as opposed to a series of workshop of trainings. We've worked hard over the years to evolve this, both selecting the mentors and individuals who are giving these trainings to work with you, but to make it very organic and engaging.
Thanks, John. So for me, I work on a lot of different projects with a lot of different clients over the course of the year. The NeuroDesign program is my absolute favorite thing that I work on across my entire career. But as great as I think it is, I'm happy to say that other people share my my sentiments, and not just not just from the participants. There's a lot here on the screen. This is being recorded. You can go back and read them later. But we also have, I'll skip to the faculty members too. Our faculty have equally as impressive things to say about the program and the excitement that they feel is being part of this. We have a lot of returning faculty. We have new faculty for Europe, especially. And this is a big deal for us too. It's our chance to hopefully give a little bit back I'll step back here to this particular slide just because of this "Where are they now" section. I'm proud to say, and this is an underestimation just because we haven't gone back yet and really done an official survey of the "Where are they now." But just from my interactions with past participants, as I mentioned earlier, over half of them have gotten their first jobs in industry as a direct result of this program. We have multiple founders. Now some companies and with names that you might recognize are their founding team have had members come through this program. And again, as a loose estimation of things I can absolutely confirm, our cohort, both across faculty and students, we do have one faculty startup that kind of emerged out of the program, as well as several with our participants. But they've collectively raised over 200 million. And again, that's conservative, just sort of things that I pick up from the LinkedIn neurotech atmosphere. So I think that's pretty impressive. We're proud of it. And I promise to try and work on actual hard numbers. So a couple of things. The application deadline, March 31st. Your application will go through a series of reviews. You'll have at least 2 and more likely 3 actual reviews of every application. And then we will notify the 32 accepted participants by April 9th. There are sort of at that students that rank number 33, and shortly after that, we do have a waiting list because life happens. You might get accepted, and if you have clinical hours, you can't get the time off, or there's your PI has a project with a deadline that can't be moved, and you're prevented from participating on our dates. So we do keep a wait list. Don't lose heart. It's not. It's always a very, very tight race. And I encourage people, if you don't get in this year, I encourage you to look at the Cleveland program, to look again next year. Hopefully we're bringing this back to Europe in 2026. But accepted students are notified on April 9th. You are given 1 week to confirm your participation. If you don't, we move on to the next one. So make sure that your contact information on the application is accurate so that I can get a hold of you to let you know. And I know there are usually a lot of questions. I can anticipate some of those. I will say, please know in advance, the dates of the workshop are June 12th through June 15th. If you have a conflict within that window and you have, say, I just need to step away for 2 hours, a lot happens in 2 hours in this program, and we can't accommodate that. So please, if you're applying and you know in advance that you have a conflict during that time, we're going to have to move on to the next person. It's not personal. It's just that this is such a fast-paced and packed program that we have to stay pretty strict about that.
Jojo, I wanted to jump in real quick. I see that Ian Burkhart is on the line as well. So Ian, I'm signaling to you if you're interested in speaking up and saying something, I'm gonna enable that for you. And then as you, so Ian is a individual with lived experience, to say the least. He's a pioneer BCI implant recipient who's grown into a massive influence in this world, and participated with us in the past. So I've enabled that. Ian, if that worked, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi John, Jojo.
Hi.
Great to hear this. I'm nice that I'm getting some of this information as well. But for everyone that's listening in, I just want to echo what Jojo and John have said about the awesome opportunity that this workshop is for you all. It's something where you're not trying to find the solution to cure cancer or solve all the world's problems, but you're trying to learn those steps that will help you solve all the world's problems. And for me individually, I'm leaning on you all to help solve a lot of problems that I face in my day-to-day life, and others that I know that face varying neurological disorders and diseases. Um, and it's such a awesome opportunity for you all to learn from really the leaders in this field, as well as being able to make those connections with the other members within the cohort of participants to really learn more and network. And I mean, I have really only been around it the last 2.5-ish years, um, and have had quite a bit of interaction with folks then at different conferences. With SFN, there's always a little bit of a get together of past um, participants that have been in this workshop, and just seeing how much people have gained from this course is something that's really valuable. And doing it in a somewhat real world setting, and really forcing you guys to all get together in a nice long weekend, like Jojo said, it includes Thursday, um, but really being able to do a lot and learn from all these processes so that you can take them forward with you throughout your whole career.
Thanks, Ian. And we are really lucky. Ian's going to be joining us in Lugano for the entirety of the program. He is one of our subject matter experts and faculty members. Part of the program is ensuring that when you conceive of a solution, that you're incorporating all user needs, whether that user is the clinician, the patient, the caregiver, the hospital system, or clinical setting. And Ian's voice is instrumental in making sure that you get that entire picture. And he's really does a great job at framing some things in terms of user experience that I think are missing from some other programs. Before I open up for other questions, I do just want to talk about the costs, because I know that's usually top of mind, especially if you're in your academic program at all. We take care of the cost of the program. There's no admission fee. You're not writing us a check for anything. We take care of from the time you get on site on Thursday at 4:00. We take care of your hotel. We take care of your meals. The hotel is a very walkable distance to the workshop site itself. We take care of your textbook. We do ask that you get yourself to and from Lugano. And understanding that that is not entirely possible for everybody, then we'd ask for, we'd hope that you prioritize other avenues of support for funding that journey. But in the case that there is no available fund for you, we do have a needs-based travel fund. It's limited because Europe is a very expensive place, especially Lugano. But we're doing our best. I can tell you, over the past 5 years, we have never had a student not participate because he or she wasn't able to get themselves to the conference. We always make this work. But we do hope that you exhaust other options before seeking funding. Funding plays no role in any of the application review. That is part of the blinded process that goes into it's not even on the reviewer's available information. So there's no impact there. And then for people currently residing in the United States who wish to participate in the Lugano program, we are unable to offer even needs-based travel because we do still have the program in Cleveland. So if you have needs travel needs, requirements, and you live in the US, we're gonna ask that you wait and apply to the Cleveland program. So I'm sure there are other questions, maybe, maybe not. Maybe we're so good that we've covered everything, but if not, please feel free to chime in.
I don't see anything in the chat yet. I will mention one more thing, which is, as if you're unable to attend or apply for any number of reasons, please help us promote the program through the rest of the application period. So if you see posts, share it with colleagues or peers. We do put on this program because we care about it and we care about the community, and something we really want to foster, the connections between people and also the sense of responsibility for continuing to build the community and help one another as we move forward in our careers. So I think that's my ask coming out of the presentation. And of course, you can reach Jojo or I, directly with any questions through LinkedIn is a very good way because we're both active there, and Jojo's posting on this, or the email address that's provided on the slides.
I will caveat that one just quickly, John. I'm not good at looking at my LinkedIn messages unless I'm looking for something specific, just because the volume is too large. So my email address is very easy. It's jojoplatt@theplattassociates.com. Or you can reach me through the info@clevelandneurodesign.org. So that's my only, I just want to make sure to be accessible to all of you. All right.
Yeah, I don't see any questions right now, Jojo.
Nope. If you think of a question later, please feel free to ask. And otherwise, we look forward to receiving your application.